Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Packers Week as the Arizona Cardinals preparing for Week 7 matchup against the Green Bay Packers. And this is as big of a must-win game for the Arizona Cardinals to potentially save their season heading into the bye week. If you're banking on home field advantage, this is probably one of those games that's not going to work out to your favor. But ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and preview Arizona Cardinals Week 7 matchup versus the Packers. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be doing a preview of the Cardinals versus the Green Bay Packers. And this is as a must-win game for the Cardinals to potentially try to save their season. Now, we are currently starting off at 2-4, and we've been losing games so darn close, and the Cardinals should potentially be a 4-2 team or a 5-1 team. But as we all know, in order for you to be a good team, you got to learn how to win those close games. And unfortunately, the Arizona Cardinals are 2-4, so that's them a bad team. But last year, we did also start off 2-4 as well. So is there hope? There is a sliver of hope for the Arizona Cardinals, but they got to get it right here in Week 7. And I'm not going to lie to you, the Green Bay Packers are a very tough matchup to go against going into their bye week, and let's just hope it all works out for the Cardinals. But let's go ahead and dive right into this team. Who are we going to be playing here in Week 7? And this is a team that's potentially going to fight for a division title in the NFC North. They got some other good teams over there, like the Lions. We are also seeing the Bears starting to kind of show their own footing, as well as the Vikings. Now, they do got a backup quarterback right now with Wentz, but as of right now, the leaders of the North is going to be none other than the Packers. But let's go ahead and dive right into who is this team and what do we got to expect, right? So when I did a little bit of a deep dive on this team, I ended up getting a tie versus the Dallas Cowboys, and that game was a shootout. Now, it's kind of very unfortunate to see a tie, specifically with a team like the Green Bay Packers. Like, you either are a very good team or you're a team that ties with the Cowboys. Now, in the beginning of the season, I really thought the Packers were going to be one of those Super Bowl favorites or a team that's going to go really, really deep into the playoffs. I still do think that they are a playoff team, but they definitely have cooled down, or at least in my expectations. I don't think of them as the team to beat in the NFC anymore. They kind of came back down to earth, but that doesn't mean that they're not a good team. When you're looking at overall this offense, they are currently ranked number 9th in total offense. They average about 359.6 yards a game. Now, their passing attack is really where it's at. They do average about 237.4 yards. They are ranked number 10th when it comes down to passing attacks in the NFL. So they are ranked up there. And now let's also keep in mind the Arizona Cardinals just came off a game and playing the Indianapolis Colts, another high-flying offense, and ranked top 5 in the NFL as well. And they did a pretty darn good job, and they were within striking distance of potentially stealing a game for the Indianapolis Colts. Unfortunately, it did not work that way for the Cardinals, but we are dealing with another powerhouse offensive team and defensive team, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. When it comes down to their rushing attack, they are actually ranked pretty solidly. They are ranked number 12 right now, averaging about 122.2 yards a game. Now, of course, that is going to be led by none other than Josh Jacobs, former Raider. He definitely has, I'm not going to say revived his career, because he was actually pretty solid with the Raiders. Of course, he might have had a little bit of a down year. He went with the Green Bay Packers and completely just upward in that trajectory. This is a very well-rounded running back when it comes down to their rushing attack. So the Arizona Cardinals need to keep their eye on Josh Jacobs. And now let's move on over to their scoring offense. They are ranked pretty up there. I believe right now they are number 8th. They do average about 26.2 points a game, and we just saw the Arizona Cardinals be able to score more than 21 points, which is something that we have not seen from weeks 1 through 5. Now, this game is going to be very telling. Is it going to be Jacoby Brissett playing, or is it going to be Kyler Murray? Because the first game that we seen Jacoby Brissett come out here, he threw for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have a boneheaded, INT, but now looking at the film, they probably should have been a flag called on their defense. But nevertheless, the Arizona Cardinals seeming to be functioning a lot better with Jacoby Brissett. I'm a little bit more confident in Jacoby in terms of what we've seen in that week 1 of preparation, but it's all going to depend on if Kyler Murray is going to be healthy or if he needs another week to rest, because right now, I think a lot of us are really curious if Jacoby Brissett is going to be able to replicate what he did in week 6 versus the Colts. And if he can, I do believe the Cardinals have a fighting chance here. But the Packers are a well-rounded team offensively as well as defensively. Let's move on over to the defensive side of the ball. As of right now, in total defense, they are ranked number 5. So they are a very well-rounded defense. I believe they average about 280.2 yards a game. So they are sticklers when it comes down to the defensive side of the ball. But let's go and break it down to the passing defense and the running defense. Let's first start off with the passing defense. Right now, they are ranked number 11th. They are averaging about 207.2 yards through the air. Like I said, I'm a little bit more confident right now with if we have an opportunity with Jacoby Brissett slinging the ball down the field than Kyler Murray. But you never know. Maybe Kyler Murray can see what Jacoby Brissett can do, and he could potentially learn, right? Right now, it is very unknown when it comes down to who's starting at quarterback for the Cardinals. But that is not easy. That's not an easy feat, but the Cardinals are going to need to be able to throw the ball up and down the field. But this defense is better than the Colts defense, so I'm curious to figure out how this game is going to shake out. Let's move on over to the run defense. We ended up losing James Conner as well as Trey Benson. Trey Benson is still gone for a few more weeks, but obviously James Conner is done for the season. But right now we are seeing a split carry from Zonovan Knight, aka Bam Knight, as well as running back Michael Carter, which started off the season on the practice squad and really took a big, kind of uptick in production the moment that we started seeing a lot of injuries. Now, another big question mark out there is Amari DeMarcado going to be playing in this game? He did leave last week's game with an injury, which helped out Bam Knight's production and really kind of showed out. Now, I'm kind of curious to figure out if the Arizona Cardinals are going to adjust and maybe have the bigger back in Bam Knight actually have a little bit more workload than Michael Carter. I really do like Michael Carter, but I believe he is like 5'8", 5'9", where Bam Knight is a little closer to 6 foot. So he's definitely a little bit more of a aggressive runner when it comes down to it. And of course, Michael Carter is more of your finesse guy, catch out of the backfield, can make a guy miss here and there. But I would love to see a little bit of an uptick from Bam Knight, and that's exactly what we saw versus the Colts game. But let's go ahead and talk about the run defense for the Packers. Right now, they are ranked number 1, so it ain't going to be easy. They're only allowing about 73 yards a game, and I think they only allowed 3 rushing touchdowns, so it's not very good for obviously Michael Carter or maybe even Bam Knight, but we are going to need to have some sort of establishment when it comes down to the run game. We can't be just a pass happy, attack where it's obvious in what we're trying to do. We're going to need to try to get this run game going with Knight as well as Carter in order for us to have some sort of balanced offense heading into week 7. Because like I said, this is as must win as it potentially could be for the Arizona Cardinals. You can't start off 2-5 and then try to sell to the fan base that the Arizona Cardinals are close. No, this is already year 3 of a rebuild. The Arizona Cardinals should already be in the mode to start winning these close games. And that's exactly what makes good teams bad teams. And right now, unfortunately, the Arizona Cardinals are a bad team. Let's move on over to the X factors that we need to keep our eye on as Arizona Cardinal fans. Number 1 going to be none other than Josh Jacobs. He's having a really solid start to his career. Right now, he's got 98 carries, 359 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Like I said before, he was a former Raider, but this guy is as advertised. We just came off a game playing Jonathan Taylor, and he went crazy on the Cardinals with over 120 rushing yards. And I do think that Josh Jacobs can also be that guy. One thing I did mention heading into the season is that I was very curious to figure out how the Arizona Cardinals are going to be able to stop the run. I really do like Mack Wilson Sr. in the middle of the field, but we also do got Akeem Davis-Gaither, which had some plays here and there, but has not really established a big-time role in the middle of the field for the Arizona Cardinals, unfortunately. So Josh Jacobs is probably going to be public enemy number 1 for me. You're going to have to try to limit that run game in order for you to get some sort of chance of winning this game. My number 2 guy is going to be none other than Jordan Love. Right now, he's got 1,259 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. I hate the fact that the Packers have gone through Favre, Rodgers, and now they seem to have another quarterback in Love. It's just one of those things where organizations that have a lot of success is able to diagnose where the next quarterback they're going to be able to develop in. So far, Jordan Love is that guy that they're developing. And he's so far showing out pretty well. He's having a really good season, spreading the ball around. And this is going to be without their number one guys right now. Of course, there's the whole Christian Watson situation. We really don't know exactly what, I guess we know what his ceiling is. It's just he can't stay healthy. Now, is he going to be playing in this game? We're going to have to kind of wait and see how that shakes out. And then on top of that, they did also lose Jaden Reed earlier in the season as well with an injury. So they do not have a lot of big names when it comes down to the wide receiving core, but they are getting everybody involved. And I'm talking about the rookie and Matthew Golden, which has had a slow start to his NFL career, but it's now starting to kind of get more involved in this offense. But I do believe their number one guy probably right now is going to be none other than Romero Dobbs. That's going to be the guy that he feels very, very confident in. And of course, their tight end and Tucker Kraft. They got some really, really good weapons over there that you can spread the ball around. And this offense can be a very well functioning offense, specifically with that run game and passing attack, right? So it's all a very good balance. It's all going to come down to, can the Arizona Cardinals somehow find, a turnover or two, right? Can the defense make a stop or two? And can we consistently score points on those drives to take advantage of those situations? We're going to have to kind of wait and see how that shakes out. But let's move on over to my number three guy, and that's going to be none other than Micah Parsons. He's having a pretty solid start to his Packer career. 4 solo tackles, 2.5 sacks. And whenever it comes down to it, even if he's not productive on the stat sheet, everybody is fully aware of what a wrecker, right? A game wrecker Micah Parsons can be. So the Cardinals defense is going to have to try to find a way to establish and try to take him away. And I know easier said than done, but I think when at the end of the day, he is that name and you got to go ahead and warrant it a potential double team, some chips, something like that that's going to be able to kind of get him out of the game as soon as we possibly can. It's going to be a really tough feat, but I do believe Michael Parsons is definitely an X factor to watch on the defensive side of the ball. And let's move on over to my next guy. That's going to be none other than Rashawn Gary. This guy right here is having a really good start to his season, but Gary right now has 10 solo tackles, 4.5 sacks. He is a very, very good defensive lineman, and honestly, a very underrated one. Now, we mentioned before Romero Dobbs. That is going to probably be his number one target on the wide receiving core. Right now, Romero Dobbs has 234 yards, 4 touchdowns. So nothing that screams crazy out there, right? That's going to kind of be needle moving or anything like that. But this is still a solid wide receiver that can also take over a game. The thing I want to talk about is the Packers are struggling with putting teams away. And that's one thing that the Cardinals are struggling with as well. So do I feel like the Arizona Cardinals have a chance in this game? Well, every single game we've played, we were in this game. I believe the last 4 games we lost. So we lost a total of 4 straight games. We only lost by a combination of like 9 total points in those 4 losses. It's really crazy to be in this situation, but truth be told, the Cardinals aren't a good team. They don't know how to close out games, and that's going to be the deciding factor if you're a good team, if you're not, right? We mentioned before on this video multiple different times, and the Packers struggle with putting away teams as well. So maybe the Arizona Cardinals can benefit from, maybe stealing a game away from the Packers. It is going to be here in State Farm Stadium, so I don't think it's going to be one of those things where the elements are obviously going to be a factor here. It's going to be beautiful weather. Heck, maybe even the shade might be open where the sun is actually coming in. But overall, the Cardinals need to win this game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm curious to figure out what your guys' overall thoughts on this game is. Let me know in the comments below. Let me give a real quick shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. That's going to be none other than Sleeper. The NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to 100 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Pick on stars like receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 100 times the payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you can win big. Use promo code AZSF. You can get up to a $100 deposit match on your first initial deposit. Terms and conditions apply. And right now, if you do use my code AZSF, they will provide you with $20 entry just like that. No deposit needed. They'll just give you $20 to go ahead and use on their app to go ahead and try it out. Highly recommend you do so. Go ahead and make sure you check out Sleeper. Terms and conditions apply. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give me your predictions in the comments below. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals.